Hi, my name is Leandro Facchinetti and let's write some code together, shall we? What we have on the menu today is the release of Caxa 2.1. We are going to release Caxa 2.1. In case you don't know Caxa, it is a Node.js project of mine that allows you to compile Node.js projects into an executable binary. And for version 2.1, we are shipping new features, bug fixes, and last time, so yesterday, I said that I was going to push some changes and we were going to see how they would work out because I thought that all the tests would pass and everything. And usually when I say things like this, I am wrong. But this time, yeah, no, I was wrong. So here is the failed run and we are going to investigate what happened and we are going to fix whatever is the issue. And we'll be a step closer to the finish line. I must confess that I cheated and I actually saw the error before, so I know what the error is and I even know what the mistake is and how to fix it. So we introduced as a new feature in 2.1 this thing called it's a new kind of stub. It's a thing called the shell stub. And a stub is just this small piece of code that loads your Node.js application. And I used to have a stub that was a Go program, and I compiled that Go program into an executable binary that loads your Node.js program. But I introduced a new stub. It is the shell stub, which is a bash script. And I introduced a test for this, and this test is failing. And it's failing in Node 14. So it's an old version of Node. And it is failing because replace all is not a function. So replace all has been introduced more recently. Oh no, I'm showing you my history. It's all just programming stuff. But that's not the intent. What I wanted to type was this. So I don't think it's even a Node.js API. I think it's just a JavaScript API and it's not supported in Node 14. So what we have to do is we could try to run this locally to reproduce the problem, and I think that I may even have an old version of Node already installed. No, it seems like I don't even have that. And we could just reproduce the problem locally, but since I already know the problem is just that replace all is not defined. So instead, we'll have to use a regular expression that is global, and that's how you used to do replace all before replace all was a thing. And in regular expressions, these brackets are special characters. I'm not sure I need to space them, to escape them. Maybe I do need to escape them. So let's see, ABC, and then here caxa. And how about we have more than one of these? So maybe over here we'll have caxa as well. And then our replace all would work like this. So these occurrences of caxa in brackets were replaced with capital case, uppercase, caxa. And the problem is that if I do just a replace, it will only replace the first instance. So instead, I'll have to do a global regular expression, and then that works, and it seems like the brackets are not being interpreted as special characters, but just in case, I think it's smart for me to escape them. So that works, and that is the regular expression I'm going to use. And do we have any other replace alls? No. So now this should pass all the tests on GitHub. We'll see. I have just pushed, and we will follow along with the action running here on GitHub. But while we sit and wait, how about we give some love to the docs? Because some things have changed. So let me go to the docs, and first of all, I want to go over the change log just one last time to make sure that everything in here makes sense. And there is still some to-dos here, so I guess I need to change them. So we added a new stub strategy, which is the bash, or I'm calling it the shell stub. I guess I will briefly describe what this is. And I have my Windows computer here on the side, just in case we need to debug some Windows issue, but I decided that I don't want to type like this the whole stream. So instead, what I'm gonna do is just push this computer over here, and I hope that I don't disconnect any cables in the process. All right, so my Windows computer is back there, and my Mac OS computer is over here, and I did not disconnect any cables. Awesome. So let's briefly describe what this shell stub is. It's a simple bash script that does the same as the Go stub, except that it is except that it takes less space, about 10 lines as opposed to a 2 megabyte Go binary. But it depends on some tools being installed on the end users' machines. On the end user machine. For example, tar and tail and so forth. Okay, added a new stub strategy, shell stub. It's a simple bash script that does the same as the Go stub, except that it takes less space, about 10 lines as opposed to a 2 megabyte Go binary. But it depends on some tools being installed on the end user's machines, for example, tar, tail, and so forth. Okay. We simplified the build/distribution of stubs, cross-compiled the stubs to simplify the GitHub Actions architecture. We were already I'm going to justify some of these decisions here in the changelog. We were already cross-compiling for macOS ARM, so that isn't a big loss. Most bugs that may arise from these decision would be bugs in the Go cross compiler, which is unlikely. Check the stubs in version control to simplify distribution and the workflow of people who want to help in the JavaScript part of the cache and who may not want to set up Go. Okay. I guess that is a consequence of the second point, so we'll reorder them. Distribute the stubs with the npm package to avoid issues like that, and that. Added the stub advanced option to specify a custom stub. Added documentation on how to emulate the include option and why that's probably a bad idea. We added not an initial message, but an uncompression message. Advanced option to print a message when uncompressing, and we did not implement this progress thing as a separate thing. We were implementing it as part of the uncompression message. Did I get this name right? I always like to double check by doing a quick search, and yes, I got it right. Fixed the exclude advanced option in Windows. I think that's all we did. Let's check the GitHub Actions. It's already failed. It has already failed. Let's see why. Bad loop for a variable. That is a problem with the shell stub. And that one is harder to figure out, I suppose. What is the for loop variable? Let's check. By the way, that's going to be our stream today. We're going to be checking problems and figuring out their solutions, and we're going to be writing some documentation. That's what we're going to do for the 2.1 release. That's what's left to do for the 2.1 release. So let's look at the for loop right here, and it says bad for loop variable. So maybe it's complaining about this. Maybe it's using an old version of sh or bash, or maybe sh is not mapped to bash on that machine, so that could be an issue. Right? Let's Google for bad for loop variable. Let's see what this is about. It seems like I get some hits here, so let's see. So the person is using sh as well. Yeah, it seems like if you don't have sh mapped to bash, then that doesn't work. And I would have to do this instead. So I guess I could use bash instead of sh. Or I could do it like this. I mean, this is not terrible, but it kind of is not great either. But it is more compatible, and the more I require of the end user, the worse. Because suppose you are running on a Raspberry Pi or on Alpine Linux, then in those environments you will not have bash. I mean, probably on a Raspberry Pi you will have bash, but in an Alpine image you may not have bash. It may not really matter because you probably can just install bash, or maybe it will be linked to dash or some other kind of more advanced shell, more advanced than sh anyway. But I guess I will do, or at least I will try to do this loop this way, and we'll see if that is better. I wonder if there is a quick way for me to test this over here. Yeah, I guess I can. I can write a simple shell script and I can run it on a real Linux machine that is running Ubuntu. Or I could just use Docker. But I guess I'll just SSH real quick into an Ubuntu machine and I will test that out. So yeah, let's write our, at this point, quite typical remove sh script. And I say quite typical because I have been doing that to test things out in the shell for like a few streams at this point. So here we have these, and I guess in here, oh, it's not do and end, it's do and done. And then over here, I guess I can do this in a single line, and then I don't need to copy this script over. I can just copy and paste this line. And then in here, well, how do I break out of this loop? I guess I would just do something like this. So cache extraction attempt is less than 3. And then if I copy this line on my, actually on macOS, actually the shell is Z shell, but it behaves enough like bash, or it should have behaved enough like bash that it wouldn't matter. Let's see, am I missing a semicolon here? Maybe I am. There you go. So that prints that. Now let's SSH into my Q the newsletter machine. That's another project I run, and it's a Linux machine. Should be able to SSH in there, and I should be able to, here I am running bash, I suppose, so I should be able to do this. No, it appears that this is not valid on Linux, so it is a valid in Z shell, but not in bash. Okay, so I had too many semicolons. I think there's just the final semicolon was probably the one to blame. No. But I don't think it's really necessary. And then this semicolon is probably the one to blame. No. Ah, there you go. So this is a command line that works in bash. And in my macOS computer, sh is mapped to bash, or at least I think it is. Let me run sh real quick. It doesn't seem to be mapped to bash. And this did work on my machine. Let's see if this works here. It works here. Maybe it's an old version of sh that is in that GitHub Actions runner. In any case, so now I can go to sh on this Ubuntu machine. Bad for loop variable. There you go. I was able to reproduce the problem, not exactly locally, but on a machine that I have control over. So now let's rewrite this using this syntax. So we'll have to set a variable, and I guess I will do it like this. Or in fact, maybe it's better if I keep this line around. So I will copy and paste stuff instead. So I'll start with these, and then I'll do a while this variable is less than or equal to, which in my actual case I won't even have to do that, because in my actual program I don't have a condition like this. So I guess I will just do a while loop without a condition. And then in here we copy this part. And now let's test this line over here on my computer using bash. That doesn't seem to terminate. Oh, because I forgot to increment. So do I need to say export again? I'm not sure, but I guess I will, just in case. Okay, seems like there is a problem with a missing semicolon somewhere, maybe this one. Okay, this seemed to have printed one line more than I was expecting, but that's okay, I guess. Oh, maybe that's because I didn't run this line, so I guess I need to do it like this. And now it starts with 0, and before it was not starting with 0, was it? Oh, it was. Okay, and it's printing one more, but that's okay. That's just a off by one logic problem here, right? Yeah, because this is less than or equal to. So I suppose that this line will print. Okay. Maybe it's like this. There you go. It's still printing an extra new line in the beginning. Oh, that's because I'm doing it in the opposite order. Alright, now I got the equivalent line. No, I did not get an equivalent line. I'll just leave it at that. There you go, whatever. what do we need to do now? Well, we need to test this on sh, and this works. Okay, so now I learned how to do this. Let's come back to our main script, and we will do export that, and then we'll have a while loop instead of a for loop, and this line will have to change into that. And I guess it should be the last line. Or maybe, you know what, I think I would rather have the whole loop condition in one place. So I guess I will start with -1, and I will have just a while loop like that. And then I start with -1 and I immediately increment that. So that probably should work. We'll see. And I can just run the test locally, and I will just make the assumption that if it works in bash, then it will work in sh. Let's see. The way I can run this test is I can come here to the tests and look for sh, and I will say that I want to run only this test. That's just to speed things up. And while that is running, we can sort of take a glance of the changes we introduced. And having a while loop is not the end of the world here. I'm completely fine changing that for, because it was already kind of the degenerate for loop, so having a while loop seems completely reasonable to me in this scenario. And the test failed. Syntax error near unexpected token do. So it's not happy about the while without a condition. How can I have a while loop in sh without a condition? Can I just say while true? Sh infinite loop. While true. While true. Yep, while true seems to be my guy. Let's do a while true. I think that this test should be relatively fast to run. Yep, it passed. Awesome. Let's review our changes. We have some changes here on the test that I want to revert. I made a change here that will fix the bug, and I also made some changes here. In fact, I think that the changelog is done. So now let's push this and we can remove this file and let GitHub work while we continue to work on the README. Let's watch what's going on here on these tests. So anywhere where I talk about the stub, I want to review, because now I have a new stub and I changed the distribution of the stub. So let's see all the places where I talk about the stub. Or better yet, let's start with reviewing all the places in which I talk about the stub, and then we do one pass over the whole doc, and that's the end. Okay. That is all true. Okay, you may find the source for the stub in stubs. So let's see if there are other occurrences of /. No, that's fine. You may build the stubs with, I think the name of the task is now run stubs, build stubs. So npm build stubs, you need a Go compiler, but the stub has no dependencies beyond the Go standard library, blah, blah, blah. There are precompiled stubs for the major platforms that are built. Oh, there is one more thing I want to add to the changelog. So let me interrupt myself and let's go to the changelog. And I will add another item here. Distribute only one version of the stub for Linux ARM version 6 and Linux ARM version 7. They happened to be the same binary anyway. It seems that the Go compiler doesn't differentiate between the architectures. And another thing is, here, if you wish to verify that the stubs really were compiled from stub.go, is that the name? The trick I use here is to do a search, and if I see more than one occurrence, that's the right name. So that is the right name. If you wish to verify that the stubs really were compiled from blah, you may run npm run build stubs. Did I get that one right? Yes, I did. Because the Go compiler appears to be deterministic and always produces the same binaries given the same source. At least that's what happened in my tests. There you go. Let's reread this. If you wish to verify that the stubs really were compiled from stubs/stub.go, you may run npm run build stubs, because the Go compiler appears to be deterministic and always produces the same binaries given the same source. At least that's what happened in my tests. And distribute only one version of the stub for Linux ARM 6 and ARM 7. They happen to be the same binary anyway. It seems that the Go compiler doesn't differentiate between these architectures. And the tests are passing on GitHub Actions. We will be able to ship this. We are shipping this. There is only the docs left to write. You may find the source code for the stub in blah blah blah. Oh, by the way, I think that we changed the docs here, so we need to... First of all, let me go to the tests and see if I forgot some only or skip. No. Now let's go to the source, because I think that I changed some of the docs. So how about we run help and copy and paste this over on the README. That's how I'm documenting stuff anyway. So it goes like this, and let us find maybe something like include. There you go. Yep, looks good. There's nothing here about the .sh feature. Did I forget to document that? What's going on? Yep, it seems like I forgot to document that. Okay. Path whether the executable will be produced. On Windows must end in .exe. on macOS may end in .app to generate a blah blah blah. I guess it's in macOS. In macOS and Linux may end in .sh to use the shell stub. And I guess I can copy and paste some information about the shell stub. The shell stub, which takes less space, but depends on some tools being installed on the end user machines. For example, there you go. So now we have to run this again and copy and paste again. Okay, let's see. The tests all passed. They have all passed. We are ready to publish this. I'm super excited. So we'll continue to work here until 8 p.m. or at least 8 p.m. on my time zone, 7 p.m. UTC. We'll continue to work on the documentation and whatnot, and when we are almost ready to end the stream, I will ship whatever we have, and I will go close the issues, and that will be at the end. So let's continue doing this. Where was I? I was searching for the stub, and here is some information about the stub. Here we are. You may find the source code blah, you may build blah. There are precompiled stubs for all the major platforms in the npm package. There you go. I guess I can copy this sentence over. So if you wish to verify that the stubs really were compiled from blah, you may run blah. I guess this information is kind of already here, so I don't need to repeat that. If you wish to verify that the stubs really were compiled from blah, you may recompile it yourself, because the Go compiler appears to be deterministic and always produce. It appears to be deterministic and to always produce the same binaries given the same source. At least that's what happened in my tests. I would change that verb form on the changelog as well. Okay. That all seems to hold. And I will add how the shell stub works. Its logic is it is equivalent to the Go stub, except that it is smaller because it's just a dozen lines of bash, but it depends on some things being installed on the end user's machine. For example, tar, tail, and so forth. There you go. Now, then we have all this related work thing. Maybe we could talk about the shell stub somewhere in here. Yeah, all seems good, but I didn't find the references on bash stuff. I remember putting them here somewhere, so let's take another look. Package, Naxi, box node, node packer, js2bin, blah blah, bash pack, other packages, self-extracting. Oh, okay. Creating a self-extract bash script for this stuff. This is the inspiration for the shell step. There we go. Let's do one pass over the whole docs, and I do have a small list of things that I would like to maybe potentially try to do, so I'll refer to that list since we have some time extra. But let me go over the docs again real quick to see if I'm missing something. Oh, here's some leftover from version 2.0. You don't need to run npm dedupe production because caxa will do that for you from within the build directory. Otherwise, if you try to run dedupe production, you would uninstall caxa, which should probably be in dev dependencies. There you go. Okay. Oh, that's cute. We could have done this in our script. I don't think we need that. But in our shell stub, we ran into an invocation of tar, and we could have used f dash. I forgot about that. Alrighty. I believe we are ready to cut version 2.1, but let me go to my list of notes. So I had here docs. I'm not showing you all my notes, but working on docs. Document that ARM 6 and 7 are really the same. Document how to verify that I am not inserting any malware into the stub. You can just rerun the Go compiler. And then we still have some extra time, so I guess I'm gonna tackle some of these other notes. First one is, can we or should we prevent command line flags that don't make sense? So for instance, if I run the command like this, no, not this one. I don't want this one. I want that one. So the question here is, there are some command line flags like the dash stub, which lets you select a different binary, a different Go stub. So if you are using that version, but you have a .ash here, you're using the shell stub, so the stub option doesn't go along with the shell stub. It's just one of those things. So do we want to prevent that from happening? Do we want to throw an error in that case? To determine that, I would like to see what Commander, the tool that we are using to parse command line arguments, what does it do if you pass a command line argument that it doesn't understand? Does it error or does it ignore? Because we are going to try to follow the same strategy. So let's say I don't exist. Unknown option, I don't exist. Okay, so now let's take some time to actually fix this. We can refer to all the options over here, and we will see which options make sense and which options don't make sense, and we'll take note of that over here on this buffer. So let's see. We have all these options. Let's talk about the ones that make sense. So these first three are required. That's fine. Force has to do with whether you want to overwrite the binary or not. So let's see how force is being used. It is general, it doesn't really apply to different stubs, so that is okay. Exclude, filter, dedupe, and prepare command, prepare, include node are all command line flags that have to do with how you prepare the application for packaging, and that is independent of the different kinds of stubs as well. Then stub doesn't make sense if you are using the shell stub or if you're using a Mac application bundle, a .app. Let me move my notes because my notes are on top of the chat. Okay, so stub, we want to take note. Identifier, we use that, I think, in all three options, but I'm not sure. So identifier is used here in the shell stub, and it's used over here in the Go stub, but it doesn't seem to be used in the macOS version. Yep, so identifier not used in .app, and this is not used in .app and .sh. Remove build directory, that is independent of the kind of stub, and uncompression message is not used in .app. So those are the versions that we want to avoid. And we kind of have a default here, so we would need to move this default below. So for instance, this stub only makes sense in the stub only makes sense when you're using the go stub, but when we would have to check for that option, and we would need to make this undefined over here, and then we move this code below. But you know what? You know what? I don't think it's really worth it. I thought there would be more of these options and they would be worse than this. So I'll just ignore options that don't really make sense. Whatever. And then to test some of the command line flags for the shell stub. So we have a single test for the shell stub, and that flag and that test is just a basic. It doesn't test things like the uncompression message. What else could we have going on? A custom identifier, ignoring stuff, but most of these things don't even apply. So having a custom identifier and an uncompression message are the only things I could test for. Is it worth adding a test for that? You know what? I'm not adding a test for that. And then let's release this. So I will say npm version. It's a minor thing, supposedly. Git push origin that. And there is still a chance that this will not go through. I mean, all the tests have passed, but we changed the GitHub Actions that actually released to npm. So there is a chance that this will fail, but I hope that it will work. So I can start to work optimistically on this and start closing issues that are related. So on the changelog, I know that I listed some issues that will be closed. So on the first tab, let's watch the release. On the second tab, or the next tabs, I will close a bunch of issues. So this has to do with the post install. Caxa 2.1.0 is out and it doesn't download, and the stubs are shipped in the npm package. I really hope this goes through. I really hope that there is no like size limit on an npm package. I did some research on this and it doesn't appear that there is a size limit. But 20 megabytes is kind of large, but we'll see. We'll see. I hope this works. The post install script is no longer used. Okay. Let me copy this last bit over here. Can close these. Okay, one task passed. Whew. Did I remember to remove the downloads package as a dependency? I think I did. Yes, I did. Okay. 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 Uh-huh. It's coming along fine. Let's open another tab and look for more issues and pull requests that we can close. So this 31 is over here. That is unrelated. That is something we can close. That is over here. That is unrelated. That... Oh, my cat was in the room. I didn't know that. The cat will try to go out, but the door is closed. Let's see how that plays. I'll be right back. I'll take care of the cat. Okay, let me see the backdrop because I had to move it to get the cat out. Seems like the backdrop is showing a little bit just around here. That annoys me. All right, that's better. So where were we? Optional message on initial extraction because the initial start might take long. Okay, that is something we did, so we are going to be able to close this. Strip the produced binaries, that's unrelated. V8 snapshots unrelated. That is not something we worked on. I don't know, I don't really remember what that's about. That is unrelated, 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 unrelated. Pull requests. That one is this. That one we can close, and that is unrelated. Okay, so we are here. Let's see how it's coming along. Just one test to pass, and we will be publishing to NPM. Looking forward to that. Okay. So this is the pull request, and this is the issue related. Okay. Added this feature as part of caxa 2.1.0, and this is the pull request. So thank you very much for the pull request. I merged it and it's part of the caxa 2.1.0 release. Great work with time and ticker. Is it ticker? I think it's ticker. Yep. Great work with time and ticker. Is it time or timer? It's time. Yeah. And then I can close with comment. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. What was the argument again for this? Okay. Okay. Oh no, a failure. What the hell? Ah, no. It's just taking too long. And macOS 14 and 16 passed, so it just took too long. And it was installing native modules and everything. I wonder if we should try again. Let's look at how long this took to pass in macOS 14. How do I see this? Install CI test. Let's look at the test results. And then native modules. It took 35 seconds, while these failed after 300 seconds. And what else? What is there more information I can go to here? Yikes. No other information, so I guess I can just try to rerun this. Maybe it was just a hiccup on the network or some other weird issue. But maybe some of the native modules have not been precompiled for macOS 15, though they have been recompiled for 14 and 16. And then a manual build or a build from source was being triggered by one of the native modules, like Better SQLite 3, and that would be super slow. But I don't think that would have happened. I think that test was already there way ago, so I think it was a temporary problem. We'll see. If it still doesn't work, we'll figure it out. But yeah, and I guess I will just say 2.1, and then I don't have to be specific. And then if I need to patch things, I can. Because if this doesn't go through and I have to change something about it, it will be still 2.1. It will be 2.1.1 maybe. So I guess I can say close this with comment. Just comment over here. Of course I'm being optimistic, but I think that this will go through eventually. Okay. And that is it. We closed the issues and we are just waiting for this to end successfully, hopefully. And if that still doesn't pass for whatever reason, I will figure it out. But for now, I think it's time to say goodbye and good weekend. I see you again here on Monday, and we will work on something else. We will work on my Notestrator app. We will return to the Notestrator. We will probably continue styling Notestrator so it looks better, but I also have this other idea on how to use Notestrator to draw on top of your OBS stream. In fact, I have this black backdrop because I have this idea of being able to draw around me. So currently, the implementation of Notestrator allows you to draw on top of your computer screen, which is fine. We'll continue doing that, but I think it would be nice to have an alternative where you don't draw on top of your computer screen, you draw on top of your OBS stream. And that's a crazy idea that I have. We may work on that as well on Monday. But in any case, thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, for supporting me on PayPal and Patreon. Thank you for, thank you for everything. I see you again on Monday, 5:30 UTC. Have a good one. Bye.